Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground is brought to you by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
I started out working with agates, and I had gotten this one saw, and I was looking for a way to pay for more tools because I wanted a core drill to make marbles, to make easier for blank cutting for marbles. I've collected a lot of rocks. I started agate picking and such, and I wanted to make jewelry, and everyone was making jewelry. And someone brought up an idea of making vases out of stone. Had people requesting me to make lamps, so I started making lamps. People request all sorts of things, so I like to be happy with the design that I'm using. Sometimes it was more about the challenge anyway. So I usually have more than one project going at a time because depending how things are going on a given day, what's working. If some days, the cutting's going well, and that's nice, and some days it doesn't go well, so you do something else. It's like the drilling, days drilling will go real well, and days you'll fight it all the way, so you go do something else. That's why I have many projects working at a time. Process starts out rock selection. You look for shape and color. You look at how you want to cut it. Where would be a best spot to cut it. And look for cracks and flaws, because don't like to finish something and have it break. I have a rock set up in a saw here. I have a water and soluble oil mix in here. It has a 16-inch blade in it. And as the blade turns, it dips into the oil and brings it up, holds it onto the blade, and it cools and lubricates the blade while it's cutting through the rock. I would slice the rock, so I can get a flat bottom on the rock. Yeah, and then I've got oil dry here, and that will pull most of the oil out of them. Next step is drilling, so I'm putting on my apron to keep dry. This is a diamond bit, and it's a core drill, and it's the same type of drill you can use to drill through concrete floors. The water's pumped in through here, and it goes down through the center of the bit. This usually takes about 30 minutes plus, depending on the size of the bit, how deep you're going, how fast it'll cut. And there'll be days I like to sit up in my shop up here and just set up pieces to do sandblasting, and I have a plotter, which is used to cut. I use to cut blasting mat, so it cuts parts. So if I want to cut out mooses at 4 inches or deer at 4 inches, I can set it up to cut out parts. And I work off images off a disc. And mast, I've used everything from duct tape to regular sandblasting mast. I got some small details that have cut into it, so I'm it's a process called weeding, or just removing what I don't want. This is going to be, what do we want? This is a loon. It's telling me loon. Alrighty, we want it. Okay, this is this little room where I do my sandblasting. I got it tented off and I can exhaust dust out the window because it keeps a little less dust out in the other shop. These are pieces which I've got masked on, removing everything but give some relief, and it'll give some contrast. Now I'll do that probably about 4 more times on that rock. When I'm done sandblasting, I'll coat the rock with clear lacquer, and I'll pull the mast off. Clean some more of the glue off of it. You can see it's a moose with a couple of trees. So since I've broken it down into steps, I've got a pile of rock sitting behind the shop here that's got the bottoms all trimmed on them and they're ready to start drilling. And I have a few pieces set up in there already for it to be sandblasted. And some days I'm feeling really creative and I'll come up with, you know, something new, or because you see the rock and it'll tell you what it wants. Went at this kind of backwards, you know, not knowing having a defined direction, and it just kind of letting it evolve on its own. So it's always changing. I may not be doing exactly what I'm doing 2 years from now, or as far as design, or maybe doing it a little differently, depending on the rock I have, and so that's an evolving process.
If you enjoyed this segment of Lakeland Public Television's Common Ground, consider making a contribution at lptv.org. If you have segment ideas pertaining to North Central Minnesota, contact us at legacy@lptv.org. Common Ground is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund by the vote of the people on November 4th, 2008.